Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to Let's Talk TCI Real Estate. It's a pleasure to be in your homes again today, another Thursday afternoon. Excited about talking to you about the purchasing process, but more so talking to you about the best price, right? So that's what we will be talking about. What is the best price? How do we come up with the best price, right? So, as usual, like, share the page. So, like I said, welcome to Let's Talk TCI Real Estate. Um, Thank you for tuning in with me today. Please like and share the page. Anyone you know who would like to hear about real estate, topics in the Turks and Caicos, please invite them to please like my Facebook page, which is Real Estate with Vernica Delancey. Of course, every Thursday there is a new topic. If you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss and talk about, feel free to always put it in the comment section, and then I will be sure to try and do a show about it or provide some real estate tips about what you would like to hear about. Okay, everybody, please like and share the page today. As usual, I always like to give thanks to my guest that was on the show previous, and my previous guest was the Honorable Akira Mizik. She actually spoke about the new initiatives that are coming for the Turks and Caicos in terms of housing, infrastructure, and planning. She spoke about major and minor projects. So if you did not have an opportunity to watch that segment of Let's Talk TCI Real Estate, please feel free to go back on my Facebook page. There was a lot of information I think that you will be really excited about hearing about, especially for those who are looking for housing opportunities. There is some housing opportunities that are coming on stream in the very short near future. So please go back and take a look at that show. Also, I would like to say, if you have any questions or comment, please feel free to leave it in the comment box. I will try to answer any questions that you have, and more so, if I miss it after the show, I'll go back, review those questions or comments, and leave the answers for you. All right. So today may not be a very long show, but if you have a question in relation to what we are talking about, please feel free to drop it in. All right. So we're getting right there. As a real estate agent, I'm often asked the question from potential buyers, what is the best price that I can offer on a property? Okay? And some potential buyers, they ask this question about every property that they see. Before they have even seen the property, they're asking me as a real estate agent. I'm using myself, but this is a question I'm sure that is posed to other real estate agents as well. What is the best price? My response normally is, let's take a look at the property, let's check the compared sales, and then let us make an offer. All right? The reason that's my response is because I normally like to say to people, make sure that you have seen that property that you are interested in, right? The reason you need to take a look at it is because you need to get a good feel of what you yourself would be prepared to offer. Don't just take my word for it as an agent, but also take a look at the property so that you can make an informed decision based on what you have seen. So, for example, a vacant lot may need to have to be filled, or perhaps it may be too steep and require you spending money before you can build on that lot, right? So even if you don't understand the true value of determining a price for a property, what to make an offer on, you will still have an idea about what are the pros and cons of that lot, and you will feel more comfortable when suggesting a price. All right. So that's why I always say to people, don't just ask what's the best price. Before you even ask that, make sure you have seen the property so you can speak about the property with your real estate agent in a knowledgeable way, and so that both of you can come up with an appropriate price. Also, the other thing I would like to say is that, for example, if you're looking at a house, the house you're looking at, you should not just depend on someone else's opinion of the house, but you may be able to spot things that are wrong with this house that your agent may not have seen. And these are all little things that can help in determining what price that you would offer to that seller. Okay? So for example, you may realize that there's a leak somewhere in the ceiling. You may realize that the appliances are not up to date. These are small little things, but they all will make a difference when you're talking about the price of a property. Okay, so that's back to why it's not just good to rely on the agent to say what's the best price, but also you must first take a look at the property, whether it's a vacant land or a home, and then help to make an informed decision together with the opinion of the realtor and what is a good price to suggest. The other thing I normally say to people who are asking, what is the best price? Ask the agent for compared sales in the area. This would help with the price point, okay? So for example, as an agent, I'm a part of the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association. So we do have a multiple listing system that we can go back and check to see what are the current sales or most recent sales in the area, right? So we have that system that can help us to come up with those compared value. Also, every office may have its own database with additional sold properties that can be used as comparable numbers, right? So just in case those properties would have not been listed with the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association, that extra database content would be beneficial to you. By using compared value, you're actually going to be making a really good offer so that you would not be insulting the seller when you make an offer. Okay, so you can have facts to back up why you are coming in at the price you are coming in at to be able to win that bid to purchase that property. I hope I'm not speaking too fast, right? But like I said, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to ask. So the other thing I want to say in reference to this point is that buyers may say that, okay, just say they may contact me as an agent and say, well, you have the land or the home for sale. You should know what the owner is willing to take. My response to that is this. There are so many reasons why people decide to sell their property. For example, they may be getting a divorce. They may have run into financial trouble. There may have been a death in the family. Say they may actually want to invest in a bigger project and they may just want to upgrade. Some people may have started out on entry level and may have purchased, say, a one-bedroom condo, a one-bedroom house. But now their family have grown, therefore they need to have a bigger property. So these are reasons why people sell. The other reason is perhaps someone is selling because, say, the bank may be thinking about foreclosing on their home. And I just want to stick a pin right here and say, not because the bank has given you notice that your property, that they may be taking over your property means that you as an owner of that property does not have the right to sell it on your own. So someone may ask, why would you want to try and sell it on your own instead of having the bank to do so? Well, it may be that you just have greater control as to who is going to be in your circle. So you may have control as to who's coming into your house. So that's one of the reasons why you may want to be leading the sale instead of having the bank lead the sale, because then the bank agent may not necessarily be somebody you are in favor with being in your personal space. The other reason is that you can have more control over the desired price that you would like to sell your property at. And I will also say, I'm not saying, yes, go and sell your home, but I'm just letting you know that if you get notice from the bank that they may be foreclosing your home and selling it, don't just automatically think that, okay, it has to be the bank's duty. You have the right also at the initial stages, if you would like to put your home up for sale, to also do so. All right. And all of that is just to say that people selling their homes, they have different reasons for selling, and the motivation is not always the same. So the reason for them selling their house today may not necessarily be the reason for them selling also a month from now, because their motivation today may change based on your situation. Therefore, what an owner may have accepted today may not be what they want to accept tomorrow. All right? The other thing I would like to say also about this question, when you are asked, what's the best price? Remember, when an agent is pricing a property, like I've mentioned several times before on this show, we use sale comparables to find a competitive price. But remember, the seller can decide to go with our recommended price, or they can decide to go with their own price, right? The seller has the final say on what price they will accept in the end. And think about it, most sellers, they're going to want to get the most out of their property. You can't blame them if you think about it. So the agent will not be able to give you a guarantee on what the final purchase price is at. The reason I'm saying that is also because of experience. When buyers are looking to buy, they're expecting that agent to give them that exact price for that property. And it's difficult for an agent to do so because there are so many factors that will have to be considered. So that's why we're back to, view the property for yourself so that you can help make an informed decision, and also ask the agent for compared values so that at least it will be a strong offer and have some backup in terms of those sale data to decide on what price you should offer for a property. Okay? I do have a question, but I just want to finish this and then I will answer the question that is being asked. Right? I'll answer the question that is being asked in a minute. I just want to finish this and then I'll answer that question. So I just also want to put a point here when you're talking about buying properties. As an agent of the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association, right? Agents have the right to sell all properties that are listed for sale with TCRA, whether you have it listed or not. Okay? The in-house system with the TCRA gives you access to all information on every property, right? And what information is not provided because of the relationship within the agents and the association allows you to get information in a timely manner, right? I'm saying this because sometimes when people are purchasing property, they feel the need to go from agent to agent to agent. There is no need to go from every individual agent for every individual property. If you decide to use an agent, you can continue with that agent for all of your property needs, unless you are not satisfied with that agent's services. Then I'll say move on to another agent, okay? We've had situations where buyers are thinking they're getting the best price, but they're putting in multiple offers, not through one agent, but an offer through different agents on the same property. Okay? There's no need to do that on the same property because remember, it's going to the same person who's selling, so the same seller. And you don't want, as a purchaser, for that seller not to consider your property because they think you are playing around with them by submitting multiple offers through different agents. You may say that doesn't happen, but in this real estate market, I have proven it happens all the time. I know you're trying to get the best price, but at the same time, as a purchaser, stick with one agent unless you are not satisfied with their service, and then move on to another agent, who you think will be able to give you a better service or to help you achieve what you are trying to achieve. The other thing I would say about it is that some buyers believe that going directly to the listing agent that they will get a better deal. This is not always the truth, right? My personal take on it is that the deal does not come because of the listing agent, but rather it comes because you're dealing with a good negotiator. So that's where you have to learn and know your real estate agent and let them negotiate on your behalf, whether they are the listing agent or not. So it's all about being a good negotiator, right? And then the last point I want to say about this whole thing about when you're making, talking about the best price, please remember, as an agent, we do not own the property. The property is owned by a third party person, okay? And the reason I want to mention this is that some buyers take it personal when you are not, as an agent, able to get a reduced price for them. Remember, you're trying to sell someone's property and you're really trying to be fair on both sides and also achieve the goal of the owner to get the best price. So back to where I started with this all. The best advice I can give to anyone who's looking to make a purchase, who's trying to get the best price, or who's asking the agent what is the best price, remember, take a look at the property first so you can be sure as to what you're buying, and also you can see the pros and the cons about the property and understand the value of the property better. Once you have done that, ask the agent for compared sales so that you can match those actual numbers, factual numbers, along with what you have seen in person, and then you are able, I believe, to make a better informed decision on what property, what price you can put forward to that seller, okay? At the end of the day, if that offer that you give, when you present it to the seller, remember, you can always do a counter offer if for any reason that price that you put forward is not accepted by the owner originally. So for example, suppose there is a land listed for sale at $125,000, right? And you make an offer at $100,000. The owner may come back and say, sorry, but I'm not interested in your price at $100,000. I would like to get $120,000. All right? Because the owner refused your offer and made a counter offer, it actually opens up room for negotiation. So this is where you as a buyer can also decide to make a counter offer and perhaps come up from $100,000 to say, okay, well, I'll meet you somewhere in the middle or closer to the middle. I will offer $115,000. Sometimes that works where both you and the owner is able to win within the situation. So not because you make the first offer, you think that, hey, this is the end all, the be all. There's always sometimes room for negotiation, but be sure to take a look at the property. Okay. So I did have one question, and the question is not in relation to making an offer, but the question is, what is your prediction for North and Middle Caicos? Fortunately and unfortunately, I do not have a crystal ball to tell you what is going to happen in North and Middle Caicos. But what I would say to anyone who's looking to buy, I feel that there is good opportunity on those islands. And the reason why I say that is because, number one, right now at this time, there is very low inventory available in Providenciales. And because of that, it means that people are going to start looking on the outer islands to start securing properties, okay? Number two, the prices on those islands are more reasonable than on Providenciales. Number three, I feel that from what I am hearing, there are a number of investment opportunities that are becoming available. When I said investment opportunities, I know about two projects, high-end projects that are talking about happening in the North Caicos area. And also the Honorable Akira, like I mentioned, she was on the show, the last segment that I had, and she spoke about a number of things that are coming for the islands of North Caicos, including the airport, right? There's already talks, not just talks, but I believe she had said it was an MOU that was already signed in relation to it. So with these things happening, and definitely if with the airport coming on stream, I feel like that's only a plus for those islands. And that's going to bring a lot more people into the island and a lot more opportunities. I've said on the show before, we have to be creative. And when you look at it, there's limited properties and everyone wants to do like vacation rental opportunities back from the beach. It's very difficult to find these properties on Providence Islands now. So why not take an opportunity and invest in North Caicos? So for example, you may be able to find something back from Bambara Beach in Middle Caicos, just back from the beach at around, just say around 65,000, right? For half an acre. That's a reasonable size property that you can use to create a bed and breakfast or create a vacation rental property that's in walking distance to the beach. So because the prices are more favorable, I think it is a good place to tap into these sister islands that we have. Don't sit down and just be waiting for something to come alive on Providence, especially if you're from one of the outer islands, you have family there, whatever. Start investing in those outer islands. I feel like it's only gonna be a good thing moving up from there. And if you're not sure, like I said, the prices are so reasonable, you can start small and there are good properties, good opportunities in those areas. I think you can start without breaking the bank by starting small and investing in a land parcel that's close to the beach within a reasonable price point. So basically, I'll say if you have the cash or the capital to do so at this time, I would suggest to you, perhaps, I think it's a good idea for you to invest in those North and Middle Caicos at this time. All right? So, if you have any questions, please add them to the comment section. If not, I just have one more thing I would like to share with you before we wrap up this segment. So we were talking about prices and properties, okay? Many people already are aware of the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association. And of course, yes, I'm a part of the association, but no, I'm not just on the show to advocate for them. But I want to bring to your attention, like you've already known, the TCRA.com website. You may be familiar with this as already, you may not be familiar with it as yet, okay? Please, if you are in your initial search for, if you are in your initial search for a property, feel free to go on TCREA.com and you search properties so you can get an idea of what's out there and what's not out there. All right? I just want to share my screen for just one quick minute. Second. So I just want to share my screen for one quick minute, just to show you. Of course, this is the TCREA.com website. You may say, okay, Vernica, you're a real estate agent. Why are you promoting TCREA? It's not that I'm promoting TCREA. The whole idea about Let's Talk TCI Real Estate is to make sure that you can get all the resources that you need to find what you're looking for when you're thinking about investing in a property. Okay, so I just want to draw your reference here. This is the website TCREA. Some people say it may not be as easy to navigate, but I just want to show you quickly how to use this. If you're looking for something in Providence Islands, here is the island tab. You click on Providence Islands, okay? What do you want to look for? If you want to look for single family home, here is the tab. What's the difference between a single family home and then you have duplex, triplex? Duplex means two, so that's upstairs, downstairs, or 2 units. Triplex means 3 units. And multifamily means 4 units or more. Okay? So if you want a multifamily home, click on multifamily home. And one of the most important things here is that you pick afterwards, you click on the price range. So if you're looking for a price, say that you're in the price range of, you have a maximum price, say let's go at 350,000, and your minimum price is 25,000. You click on the search. Once you've already clicked on the search, you will have a number of properties that come up. Okay, so there's a map where you can locate on the map, but also on the sidebar. I want to show you with the sidebar, just for your reference. There is, on each listing, it will tell you if it's active or not. But I want to draw your attention to this sign that says pending. Okay, if you see a property is pending, what does that mean? A property that is pending actually means that there is an active offer already on the property. Okay, now, does that mean the property is not available anymore? What it means is that at this particular time, the property has been taken off the market, and it could be because the person is going through trying to obtain bank financing, or some other conditions they're trying to fulfill. So yes, you can still contact that agent if it's pending, but just have in mind, you may have to wait for a period of time before you know the final result of what's happening with that property. I always like to suggest to persons, if you find a property that is pending, but you have fallen in love with that property, find out from the agent if there is a condition, so that you can know what the condition, so you can know what the next step is. So for example, like I've said before, if it's conditional on financing, right? You could find out when does the financing for that particular property expire. And due to that, you could decide to put in a backup offer in the event it falls through. At least you will be first in line to have your backup offer submitted to the owner if for any reason that condition fall through. Okay, so I just wanted to point out that pending, because that is very important when people are looking on the site to know the status of the property that they are looking at. All right. So this is what I wanted to point out, but take a look at the TCRA. This is a good site that you can use when you are just browsing properties for the first time. There's a lot of other navigation spots. I'm not going to go through it, but I just wanted to point those 2 features out about that listing, because we have persons always asking us about how the system works. So that's TCRA.com. You can look at the listings. You can send your inquiries, but also I always encourage you, select an agent of choice. No matter the agent, they can assist you with all the properties that are available, so that you're not going from one person to another. Remember, we live in a very small country where everybody knows everybody. So we don't need to be going to John, Susie, and Smith about the same properties. Select your agent, work with that agent, and then if anything, like I say, you don't appreciate this agent service, you can move on to someone else. All right? So I have one other question. In addition to costs of property, what other costs are associated with purchasing properties of first-time buyers? Okay, what other costs are associated with purchasing property of first-time buyers? Okay, so like you said, you have the cost of the property. Other than the cost of the property, you have your stamp duty. This is a one-time payment that we know that is levied by the government. It's not we don't call it a tax, we call it one-time stamp payment. And of course, it's based on the price of the property and on a sliding scale. And I want to point out at this time, you may or may not remember, but I've said it a few times, the stamp duty differs on Providenciales compared to the other islands. If you're purchasing on North, Middle Caicos, Grand Turk, one of those islands, the stamp duty is less. So that's also an advantage to someone who wants to purchase on the sister island. You have a less stamp duty. So stamp duty on the sister islands is like 5%. It goes from 5% to 6.5%. Whereas on Providenciales, you are looking from 6.5% up to 10%. Okay, so that's a real good advantage for purchasing on the outer island. So your additional costs, like I said, the cost of the property, your stamp duty. You also have, when you're purchasing, a government transfer fee of $25. You also have what we call your legal fee. This fee is where the attorney is going to do all the final paperwork on your behalf and make sure that your documents are registered with the Turks and Caicos government. The cost of that service, right, is obviously based on the attorney of choice. They all have their fees. However, you can expect a cost. Some attorneys do 1%, and some attorneys do by the hour. Some attorneys will do a fixed base standard fee. Therefore, of course, the agent you are working with, all agents, they know a lot of their attorneys well, so they already know which attorneys charge 1%. They would know which attorneys charge on a hourly rate. They also would know which attorneys would charge on a base fee. So that's something you can consult with your real estate agent about, and they can direct you with a few suggestions. And I've said this before, we have capable attorneys on islands that you can choose from. All right? So those are the costs you're looking for in terms of purchasing a property for a first-time buyer. Now, I would also like to point out one more thing about costs. If you're straight up and you're making a cash purchase. If you're going through the bank, right, then there may be some additional costs with the bank. So, but those like banks fees, application fees, but that's a conversation that you would have with your lending institution. And I want to remind persons that when you are purchasing, as far as I understand, it still exists where you have the first time home buyers, homeowners policy. This allows you to take advantage of not paying stamp duty or reducing your stamp duty. Okay, so I know that it was up to $20,000, but of course that's something you can also continue to verify with your attorney. Your attorney can also assist you in applying for this stamp duty exemption for first-time home buyers. Okay, and this comes in handy, especially when you're purchasing a home on expensive property. This can help you save on costs. So I hope that I have answered that question for you. Don't ever be afraid to, even when you're dealing with an agent or whatever, ask them these questions, but they can also outline it all in writing for you so you can have it at a glance for what you're looking for. And as far as I know, you're asking if it extends to property only or residence. When I say property, I'm talking about homes, and I understand that there are persons who have had it on vacant land. So vacant land and homes, you can apply for that stamp duty reduction exemption as a first-time home buyer. I just also want to say that home buyers policy also extends to construction as well. So like if you have a land already in your building, there's some exemption you can get on construction materials. Sometimes people don't think about that. So if you're buying a property, you may say, you know what, I have the stamp duty, but I would perhaps like to use that exemption when I'm bringing in the materials to build my house. So that's when you can also use that exemption as a first-time home buyer to bring in those materials. All right. So just that. So it's always good to ask those type of questions so you know exactly how you can save on costs while you're trying to establish your goal of purchasing real estate in the Turks and Caicos Islands. All right. So if there aren't any additional questions, right, I just want to tell everyone thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Again, if there are any topics you would like for me to discuss, that's what Let's Talk TCI Real Estate is all about. This is just a forum. You can come in, ask your questions, get them answered to help you make the next step to making your dream of home ownership or land purchase a reality in the Turks and Caicos Islands. So until next time, I'm going to say to you, stay safe and remain blessed. Have a great afternoon.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this show belong solely to Let's Talk TCI Real Estate and not that of Keller Williams TCI or any of its affiliates. Any action you take upon the information provided on this show is strictly at your own risk, and Let's Talk TCI Real Estate guest or host will not be liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of the material. I am not an investment advisor, broker, or dealer.